Yes, it is that time again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show this week. And as always, I'm your host, David Burrows. Somebody asked me the other day, yeah, look at this. These are regularly a part of my life. And I have a whole bunch of them. Somebody asked me the other day, they said, David, why do you do your show live at 3:30 in the afternoon? I can't watch you live. Why don't you do it in the evening? Well, that's a good question, a fair question. There is an answer. Here's the answer. We're simulcast all over the world, and part of the audience, even though this show is about Sarnia Lambton, there's others around the world who watch the show. They like seeing what's happening in other communities. And we're simulcast in the United Kingdom, through the United States, Australia, Ireland, South Africa, right? So I sort of try to find a time that works so that people can watch live. But honestly, you can watch it anytime. You don't have to watch it live, right? There's still a replay. And it's honestly a time that works for me. Selfishly. You can always watch the replay, and we're going to be starting to share some highlights of the show every week. We did that last week. We'll be doing that again. So, but thanks for the question, though. I appreciate that. And if you ever have any feedback about the show, I'm always open to hearing your thoughts about the show and maybe some positive suggestions. I'm happy to say, and some of you won't know what this is, but I'm back on Twitch television. So twitch.tv/Dav Burrows. But different than what you're going to see here. This is the Positive Community Show. And over on Twitch, I'll be talking about live streaming and gaming and live streaming as a business. And we'll be playing some games and having some fun as well. There'll be a lot of discussion and stuff. Starting tomorrow, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern, I'll be going live 3 days a week on Twitch, and then here, of course, and everything else. Anyway, there you go. I hope you had a fantastic weekend. There was certainly lots going on. We were out at the Empower Play event out at Valley Axe this past weekend. I forgot, there was lots of pictures, a lot of fun. The Tom Petty tribute was there, along with the, I can't talk today, along with the Sandman Metallica tribute. Both fantastic bands. We had a lot of fun. Valley Axe and was the host out there, along with Graham Holmes from Empower Play, raising money to remove financial barriers to youth who might have, like, sports can be expensive, right? So Empower Play was created 5 years ago and is trying to remove the financial barriers that some youth and their parents may face. Can you imagine the talent that might be out there that is not playing in hockey, baseball, soccer, anything because of financial barriers? We're going to have Graham Holmes back on again in the months to come to talk more about that. I know it was a successful event, and they profited from that. So check out Empower Play Inc. on Facebook to learn more about their program, including their exchange program and upgrade program for sports equipment. Great idea. What else happened over the weekend? Well, yesterday, Sunday, was a beautiful day, and I had been invited to a barbecue here in town. Some friends, mutual friends, reached out and said, "Hey, we're having sort of a thank you barbecue." And as it turned out, they only live like 2 doors down from where I am. How cool was that? So it was kind of like, thank you for the invite and meet the neighbors at the same time. And I only got to stay for about an hour, but I really enjoyed meeting my neighbors and learn some more about Cassandra and her mom, who have Facebook pages. One is about chronic illness, and the other one is a free site to help people in need. We're going to have them up on the show in the next coming weeks. We have to schedule that, but that'll be happening. And it was great. Who doesn't like a good barbecue? I do. I passed on the cheesecake and the cake. It wasn't. I really wanted some, but it's just not in my diet these days. But it is, yeah, it was very, very tempting. But I was strong, and I said no. All right, we're going to say hello. And Dom was there. Dom, thanks for joining. And Dom was one of the folks down there at the barbecue as well. And Mr. Wilson from Petrolia, hello to you as well. I appreciate you guys watching. Awesome. All right. Well, we got 3 great guests coming up here shortly, and I got some other things to talk about first. But Brian White, City County Councillor, is going to be here. Not talking about city politics. He's wrestling again. He's going to be here. Jessica Smalls is having a grand opening of her business, Spirit Academy Sarnia, or Sarnia Spirit Academy, rather. And Paul Burke from the local Sarnia Football Club, or soccer to some of you, but the Sarnia Football Club is going to be here. He won a special award. We'll be talking to him. But first, there are other things going on that we need to talk about. And one of them is the new Brights Grove market that is happening out in Brights Grove. You guessed it. Eve Morgan was on the show a little while ago talking about this. All summer long, from 4:30 or 4, I think it's about 4:30 or 4 o'clock. Sorry, 4 o'clock till about 7:30. I get my 30s mixed up. I just turned 50. Maybe that's it. They're having local music, local food, and just local out there on the beautiful Kenwick on the lake out in there at Brights Grove. And the other thing about these markets is it's not just about the food and the local music and the local support, local vendors. There's some social fellowship that goes on there. You know, people get together and they meet. And I remember my mom was talking about going to the grocery store. Does anybody do that anymore, to go to the grocery store and socialize? Anyway, everybody's going to the market. And now there's one out in Brights Grove every Wednesday, 4 o'clock. Beautiful Kenwick on the lake out there. And check that out. And support local, right? One of the other great things that happens, there's a lot of great music in Sarnia. And, of course, the open mic at Village Gardens happens every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. So here's the plan, right? So you go out to Brights Grove, you go to the market. See, I'm making a plan for you. You go to the Brights Grove market, you hang out, you support the local vendors, you have some local food, listen to some local music, and now you're in the mood for some more music. So now you come back to town, you go to Village Gardens, and you go see my friend Doug Ferguson. He does open mic there every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock and get some great local talent in there. And if you don't play an instrument and you just want to sing, he can probably play it for you. You can just go up and sing. I've seen lots of people go up in there, and I get up once in a while and sing too. It's a good time with, again, my friend Doug Ferguson, Village Gardens, every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock. Go check them out there. The Rotary is having their 38th annual, can you believe this? The 38th annual Mackinac Pancake Breakfast coming up this Saturday under the beautiful, or my dad always liked to say, Bluetiful. He had a swimming pool business called Blue Water Pools, and he'd say that was Bluetiful. So under the Bluetiful Blue Water Bridge, say that 5 times fast, the Bluetiful Blue Water Bridge and the Mackinac breakfast happening down there. In fact, I know I just got a call. They're going to put some signs on my lawn to remind everybody. That is from 7 until 11 o'clock in the morning. Coming up this Saturday. And of course, Rotary, we had Jenny Greensmith joining us here last week talking about the Rotary and what they do to give back into the community. So fantastic. Rotary worldwide, but we have 3 Rotaries here in Sarnia, and they kind of all suit different demographics and different ideas of what's going on. And then they all work together and collaborate as well. So of course, you can simply go to Facebook or Google to find out more about that. All right. Boxing, the Blue Water Boxing Club is back. Well, they never left, but their Banger in the Hangar event is back again, happening out at the Sarnia Airport in the hangar. That's right. And this time they're welcoming boxing from Scotland, all the way from Scotland, coming here to be a part of this Banger in the Hangar event. Caitlin Clark was here about a month ago. She's a young Canadian champion as well. She'll be fighting in this as well. Steve Wyville, local police officer, who's as old as me, I just put it out there, is going to be boxing as well. And good for you, Steve. Good for you. I'll be there watching. And if you can't get a ticket, it's always best in person, but I will be live broadcasting pay-per-view this event on July the 20th. You can go to tvsn.ca, sign up for the pay-per-view event. It's only $12.95. Or come on down and do it in person. It's going to be a lot of fun, and some other special things going on there as well. But the Banger in the Hangar event put on by the Blue Water Boxing Club and the Video Show Network there, broadcasting pay-per-view. Some exciting things happening in that event as well. 'Tis the season for music and festivals, and you got to have a bash. We got a Bridge Bash coming up down to the Point Edward Optimist Club having their annual Bridge Bash on July the 19th and the 20th. A CCR revival or CCR tribute group is going to be there as well, along with a rock and roll trilogy on the Saturday, Journey, Foreigner, Styx tributes. And this is all to support the Point Edward Optimists and all the programs and services that they provide and giving back into their community down in the village of Point Edward. And it's going to be a fantastic turnout, as always, I'm sure. Very entertaining. And Mother Nature, let's call Mother Nature. She's been showing up on the weekends. That's as long as she shows up on the weekends, I can handle the rest of the week being, well, I won't say that because then somebody will get mad at me when it rains. Anyway, we're going to have good weather. Bridge Bash 2019. Just go on Facebook to Bridge Bash 2019 to find out more about it. And I think there's a $10 admission price in the evening. Bring your own lawn chairs. And again, supporting the Point Edward Optimists and all the great things that they do. More music, Bridge Bash, and then Brights Grove Music Festival is going to, there's this music everywhere. The Brights Grove Music Festival will happen on July the 27th out in Brights Grove, of course. There's about 8 or 9 bands that are going to be performing throughout the day and evening. And this year they support I can't talk today. Rewind. St. Joe's Hospice, which is, of course, a fantastic facility here in Sarnia. And James Snyder, I'm told, is going to be joining us here next week. He's one of the original organizers and founders of the Brights Grove Music Fest, and he'll be here to talk to us about everything that's going to be happening. And again, go on Facebook, Brights Grove Music Fest. Every once in a while, they get me out to do the karaoke thing in the Moose Lodge. I don't do it a lot anymore, right? But it's nice to do it once in a while. And the Moose Lodge has talked me into doing it once a month here at the Moose Lodge, 1086. So every fourth Friday of the month, starting July 26, all the way through up into sometime next year, they've booked me for karaoke. Who doesn't like karaoke? I mean, come on. Even if you don't sing, you probably sing in the shower or something. Even if you don't sing, come on out. Karaoke singers need an audience too, right? You can be in the audience. It's a lot of fun. Everything's reasonably priced down there. It's a really fun atmosphere. 19 plus, but we always have a good time down there. And I got thousands and thousands of songs. If I don't have it, it probably wasn't written. So come on out. That's starting on July the 26th again at the Moose Lodge, starting at 9 till 1 a.m. in the morning. I can't do the 2 o'clock thing anymore. It used to be 2 o'clock, but I don't do well with that. Let's go back into our comments before we move on. We'll say hello to Monique. Hello, Monique. Thank you for joining us here today. And Sean Askin, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by as well. If you are watching, and we're again simulcasting about 5 different places around the world, make sure you click the link above, right above my horns there. There's a link, and you click on that, and that's where you have to watch from to make sure that we can see your comments, and you can share those comments with our guests as well, who we're going to get to in just a moment. Captain Kid Days coming out to Corunna once again. Their annual event will take place August 1st through the 4th. Starts on the Thursday night. Main Street Credit Union is supporting the kickoff night, which is movie night. Mighty Ducks. Who remembers the Mighty Ducks? Yes, that will be the movie for in the middle of summer. We're going to watch a hockey movie, but that's what Canadians do, right? That's going to kick off things thanks to Main Street Credit Union, and lots of events happening throughout the weekend, including, once again, I'm happy to say I'll be putting on my annual Youth Talent Showcase, also supported here by Lisa Aubin. Everything she touches turns to sold. She'll be supporting that as well. This is a showcase. It is not a contest. And what this is all about is just to get our youth up on a stage. It takes courage to get up on the stage and perform, show off their talents, and get comfortable up there and just have a fun afternoon. And there'll be an open mic after that as well. Some of our alumni, when I say alumni, we've been doing this about 4 years now. Ian Linton's going to be there. I believe he was a rapper that came along when he was young, and now he's off in college and doing great things. He's back for the summer, hoping he's going to show up as well. And we're just going to have a lot of fun, right? And there's music all weekend. The parade for Captain Kid Days, again, you can go find that on Facebook at Captain Kid Days. The Tall Ships of Sarnia. This is getting more and more exciting as it gets closer. I was down doing a bit of an on-site walkabout with some of the folks involved, and it's really coming together well. The Tall Ships of Sarnia will be here from August the 9th to the 11th, and in collaboration with Blue Water Border Fest and Artscape once again, all working together to make this happen. And I will be live streaming everywhere, all over the place. I'll be emceeing down at Blue Water Border Fest. I'll be hanging out. I'm going to be a busy guy, but you don't want to miss this. It is what a great way to showcase Sarnia Lambton and all the beauty and great things that we have to offer down here. And thousands of people are coming to this. I was talking to Rob Hardwood, the director of Parks for Sarnia, and they see where the tickets are coming from. People are traveling from all over to come right here in Sarnia Lambton. And we should be pretty proud of that. It's fantastic. And all these three groups working together to make sure that this is a successful event. You can go online to the Tall Ship Celebration to get your tickets online for this before they're gone, because there's only you can only put so many people down there, folks. And we'll have some updates on the Facebook page as it gets closer to that date as well. Speaking of Borderfest, last week, I think it was last week, I gave away a pair of tickets to the country night that was announced on the Thursday evening. Tyler Farr is headlining that. Gave those tickets away. Congratulations to Megan Cook for winning those. Look what else showed up. Look at this. Hey, look at that. Look how that happened. I have some more tickets. This one, a very special night, Big Rec night. I've got some tickets that I'm going to be giving away for that, and that'll be on the Facebook page later this evening after the show. The Big Rec performance is going to be certainly an emotional one, as, of course, Brian Doherty recently passed away from a battle of cancer. And $2 from every ticket sold for that night is going to be donated to the Canadian Cancer Society. And, of course, great rock all weekend. Go to bluewaterborderfest.com to get your tickets for that. I'll be there all weekend, too. I don't know if I'm going to have time to eat that weekend. But anyway, we'll get through it. All right. Well, we talked about boxing and we've talked about music. There's another W in there, and it's called wrestling. In fact, Destiny Wrestling has been to Sarnia and surrounding area, and they're back again. And my first guest, I'm still not sure what he was thinking the first time he got into this, but I know he's got his reasons. Let's bring him on right now. City and County Councillor Brian White, thanks for being here.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, you're welcome. I still don't understand it. The first time you said you were going to do this wrestling thing, I was like, what? So how did this all, let's go way back and how did this all start for you?
In terms of actually wrestling?
Yeah.
Well, it started way back with another promotion that came here, and this gentleman, we'll call him that in quotes, ended up talking a bunch of smack about our city and about me as I had taken my son to a live indie pro wrestling show, which is a great thing to do. Good family fun. It was his first show, my son's, and it was an incredible event. But as things happen sometimes at shows, the action spilled out into the audience, and there was a little interaction between a couple of the wrestlers and my son, who was invited to somewhat participate in the match.
Right.
So I cheered that on and I boasted about it after. And next thing you know, this series of events over a couple of shows led me into not only demanding an apology, but since I didn't get the apology, I got the opposite of that. I got initially assaulted and then challenged to participate. So at that stage, in order to just survive, I engaged in some training at Tyson Duke's Wrestling Factory in London.
Yeah.
Just so that I didn't die, really. And because I opened my mouth.
Well,
and then to be honest with you, I kind of fell in love with it. I mean, I've been a lifelong fan. I think like a lot of fans, it ebbed and flowed in my life. It had different periods of my life where it was something I paid attention to, and then other periods where I shrugged it off and went on with other vices, I guess. But I fell in love hard. There's something about training and getting in the ring that really grew my appreciation for what these guys and gals do in the ring. I mean, exponentially. And I took it on as a challenge personally. So, but that was it. It was only meant to be a one-off thing, really. In the end, I thought that was it. I was done. But then Destiny World Wrestling started to come to Sarnia, and that's when things sort of picked up for me. So last October.
Yeah. Now, was it a bit of an eye opener? I mean, we watch these from the outside looking in, and we have certain perspectives, ideas on storylines and all this stuff. But did you get a wake up call when you especially when you went down to see Tyson Dukes?
Yeah, I mean, I always had a pretty good perspective as to how athletic it was, but I mean, a wake up call, absolutely. The first time I hit the ropes, I didn't realize it would leave me with welts on my back. The first time I took a body slam and couldn't catch my breath for minutes after, I stood up, wheezing and wondered why on earth people do this for a living, but they do it every day. But after, I sort of accepted again the challenge that if I'm watching these guys, especially the ones I was training with, who could do it night after night, show up to training, put in the hours and hours and hours just to do the basics, never mind the way that they were progressing into the more advanced stuff. If they could do that, then surely I could at least step out of my comfort zone long enough to not only survive, but to actually maybe accomplish something. So I just took it on as a personal challenge, and man, I just grew that love for what they do. It's like when I got in the movie business early on in my career, and all of the myths were dispelled for me. I actually grew a deeper appreciation for what it takes to tell a really good story in that medium, and that's exactly what happened with wrestling.
Yeah. How far are you going to take this?
I don't know. As long as I keep getting called out and spat on, and whatever else continues to happen, I will take it as far as I can. I was talking to some of the guys at a show in Dresden the other night. I wasn't wrestling, but I was there to support some of my Wrestling Factory colleagues. So one of them who was debuting the other night. So a bunch of us were there to cheer him on in his debut match. And, I was talking to some guys about it, and really, I turned 44 next Wednesday. It's not something that is going to be a career for me. In fact, I could say that my WrestleMania moment comes in a 3-minute training match in the dojo where, there's no audience except for other students, but I have a really great sequence of moves, and I survive. I feel exhilaration, and I walk out of the ring exhausted, but with a great big smile on my face. So, I mean, how long am I going to go? I don't know. As long as I'm still having fun, I'll keep training. If there's a use for me beyond that in any of the shows, then I'm willing to discuss that.
What about family and your wife? You obviously had to have a conversation there that said, because Dad's not busy enough already.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the time that it goes in, and the safety. How were they with all that?
Yeah, I know, very, very real considerations, and honestly, I'm very blessed. I do a lot with my life. My days are really full most days, and as you know, Dave, there's a lot of challenges even within my own family unit that we deal with, having special needs kids. And then, of course, my responsibilities to the community really means I'm spending an awful lot of the hours in each day serving other people. And much like, a basic exercise, which I do regularly, and I have a personal trainer as well, just to try and help, make sure I can walk when I'm 80. I decided that, and with my family's blessing, that this was something I was going to do for me. When I go to London, I shed all of that skin of being the city councillor, other than maybe it becomes part of the character a little bit. I shed all of my duties as a father temporarily, although my phone is always with me, and if I'm needed, I will leave. But I can walk in there and shut everything else down and activate a part of my brain that doesn't get used in any other way, and really hyper focus on facing a physical challenge, especially with the added reality that I'm 43, 44 next week. That you know, I have to think in a different way. I have to, you know, I have to achieve a goal. It's no different, I think, than somebody who decides they're going to climb a mountain, or any other physical challenge that they might face. It's exhilarating. And to be honest with you, it gives me life in a way that nothing else I've experienced does. And it allows me to be stronger in all of the other roles that I have. So as much time as it does take, and it takes a lot of hours. I mean, you know, I got to drive to London to train, and then it's a couple hours there. And if I go 2 or 3 times a week, it's a lot of time away. But I usually take my son with me, and he enjoys being exposed to that. He gets in the ring at the end of the night and does some rolls. He doesn't get to do moves. He's too young for that, but he does get to do some of the basic rolling around and hitting
Right.
ropes and stuff like that. So, you know, and again, it gives him something too to dream about that maybe he otherwise wouldn't have exposure to.
Yeah. Well, you've certainly carried it on well. I say that for sure. I do watch from afar, but I watch. And now let's talk about this match coming up. I mean, this is a bit of a story behind it there. This started with a battle royale, I believe, and like your opponent spit on you, and like this just really kind of got out of hand.
Yeah.
Talk about that match and your opponent.
Yeah, well, you know, I wasn't expecting to wrestle again. I broke my wrist in a match last January, and I thought that was going to be it. If everyone remembers breaking my wrist one night in a wrestling match and winning Dancing with the Stars the next night.
Yeah, show off.
Well, I thought I was going to leave both behind. I thought, I mean, what a weekend, right? What a badge I could wear for the rest of my life. So, but when Destiny World Wrestling was committed to coming to Sarnia, local promoter Aaron Sisson came up with this idea of recruiting some local athletes and stuff to come up with sort of a local Sarnia-based battle royal, mixed with some of the wrestling talent that was coming down as well. So he reached out and asked if I would jump in the ring, and without any additional training, I had agreed to do it. But I just figured I'm going to be in the ring with, I think 7 or 8 pro wrestlers, plus a bunch of Sarnia Imperials football players, plus some MMA fighters from Corunna. Yeah. And I thought, well, that'll be a fun 30 seconds of my life, and then I'll get thrown over the top rope, and I'll get to say that I was in a battle royal, which was cool. And I got ganged up on by a bunch of pro wrestlers who thought they would beat up the politician. I got spat on. They tried to throw me out of the ropes. I hung onto the rope with everything I got, with everything I had. And in the end, I ended up eliminating a bunch of wrestlers. And then it came down to Holden Albright and I as the last guys in the ring. He tried to pull a move on me. I ducked the clothesline. I hit him with what's called a diamond cutter, or in today's world, an RKO, out of nowhere. And as he recoiled back to the ropes, I saw my opportunity. I ran at him with everything I had and clotheslined him over the top rope, and actually won the battle royal. So Holden didn't like that too much. And
well, I guess because he's a seasoned wrestler. I mean, and this is a guy who is he's a wolf in human clothing.
That's very true. I mean, he comes out with this incredibly scary persona, and that does very much reflect his mindset. He's a very dark human being internally. He comes out with this unbelievably frightening mask as well. And that's his personality when he's in the ring. He's vicious. He's about a 300-pound guy. So at the next show, again, I thought I was done with wrestling, but I was asked to be the guest commissioner at the next show. And during a match that he was wrestling against Aiden Prince, who is our current Chem Valley Wrestling champion, okay. So basically the Sarnia champion. At the time, he beat Aiden after cheating. And as commissioner, I stepped in and told the referee to restart the match. I said I wasn't going to allow something like that to happen. The referee wasn't looking, and Holden got a low blow in on Aiden and pinned him. And I said that wasn't going to happen, not in Sarnia, not in front of our crowd. And so the referee restarted the match. Aiden got the pin on him, and then needless to say, Holden was even more furious with me.
Oh wow, yeah, that wouldn't have gone well. He probably wouldn't have liked you even in the room at that time.
That's fair. That's fair. And so he spit on me again and demanded that we wrestle each other. So, which I'm not sure if I even agreed to that. Next thing you know, I was being handed a contract and a waiver to sign my life away, and I signed it out of pure frustration of having been spit on.
Right.
And I was wearing a nice suit. It's a nice suit. I was there to be a commissioner, not wrestle. So, so I was frustrated. So I agreed, and we wrestled the last show in town. And now Holden did something I thought was very disrespectful. The start of the show, the Destiny World Champion came out and issued an open challenge to whoever wanted to face him for the title, Josh Alexander. And that guy is more than capable of taking on anybody. He's signed to Impact Wrestling. He is a world-class athlete. And Holden thought he would go out there and challenge for the world title to start the show. So he went out and did that. He accepted the challenge, which I thought was disrespectful to not only me as his scheduled opponent, but to all of my family and friends who bought tickets to show up to watch me wrestle Holden. So Holden lost the match against Josh, and I suppose I was just supposed to go away. But I came out and demanded that we still have our match, which honestly felt a little cheap. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the guy just got beat up. But then again, he's a pro wrestler and I'm not. He's 300 pounds. I'm 200 pounds. So maybe I got a little bit of an advantage after that, but I'm not sure. But I demanded we wrestle. He was up to it, and I pinned him in about 4 minutes. So not without taking quite a bit of abuse. It took me about 2 months for my sternum to heal after getting crushed. But a 300-pound guy landing on your chest will do that. So, you know, he wasn't happy again. And here we are this Sunday going to face each other again in what's called a lumberjack match.
Right. Yeah. Explain what that is, because it's completely different than what I thought.
Yeah, it's actually kind of scary, and there might be a little strategy to it. But the premise of a lumberjack match is that the ring is surrounded by pro wrestlers. So there'll be about a dozen, or I don't know, 14 or so pro wrestlers surrounding the ring, while Holden and I try and have a competition inside the ring. The thing is, quite often what happens in a match is you end up outside of the ring, whether it's because somebody throws you out, or because you decide you need to take a break, or maybe you just had enough and you're going to take off. Well, I think the strategy part's going to come into play in this one, because what ends up happening is in a lumberjack match, if you find yourself outside of the ring, the wrestlers who are outside of the ring, it's their job to get you back in the ring. But quite often they're going to make a statement, and it's a very dangerous place to be, surrounded by, 15, 14 wrestlers. When you're supposed to be inside the ring. So they usually do a little number on you before they send you back into the ring. So it's a bit of a scary situation.
Well, and do you have some other rivals and enemies out there around the outside of this ring?
Well, I would say, my vibe of it is, I think the only one who I might even consider a friend is Aiden Prince, and I'm not sure if he's going to be out there. But even if he's my only ally, that's only one person against potentially everyone else. But I don't know. Maybe Holden has enemies, and that makes them my friends by virtue of that. But all I know is that the reception I get when I'm in the ring with other wrestlers is that I'm a politician and I have no business being in the ring. So, well, I'm trying to do the work, and I'm trying to earn their respect by going to training and earn the title, because, people in this city call me a wrestler, whether I am one or not. I'm trying to earn their respect by going to training, but I can't guarantee that I've got any friends on the outside of that ring. So it may be 14 people trying to lay the boots to me while I'm out there. It may be 7-on-7. I have no idea how it's going to play out. I honestly couldn't tell you.
And things can really change in the wrestling match. Like, you can have somebody over here in your corner, so to speak, and then bang, all of a sudden, maybe they're not in your corner anymore. Because this is only the two of you in there, but even a battle royale is a really good example of that, right? You could end up facing your best friend.
Yeah, opportunity is everything, and it only comes up when it comes up. So you've got to be quick on your feet and recognize when your opportunity is. Likewise, you have to recognize when somebody else's opportunity might be staring you in the face, and you might want to protect yourself if that comes to be. So it's a unique world, that's for sure. It's not like it's not like your average team sport, that's for sure. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, this is all happening down at River City Vineyard coming up this Sunday, right?
Yeah, this Sunday, 7 p.m. is bell time. There are some VIP tickets left, as far as I know, for $40, $30 for the second row VIP, and $20 general admission. It's an unbelievable card as well. Destiny World Champion Josh Alexander is going to be there. CVW, so that's Chem Valley Wrestling Champion Channing Decker is going to be there. Former ECW and WWE star Rhino is coming to
Wow.
Rhino is going to be there wrestling Channing Decker, which is going to be an unbelievable match. And if anyone's a real wrestling fan and remembers back in the Hart Foundation days, flying Brian Pillman,
Yep.
Brian Pillman Jr., his son, who's just as good as Brian was, is also going to be here in Sarnia. That's crazy. Rhino.
Even I remember those guys.
Yeah. I mean, Rhino just retired from WWE like 3 months ago. Like, this is an unbelievable opportunity to see some world-class talent. I mean, Tommy Dreamer was here last time, and I got to sit beside him backstage for a couple of hours and learn from him. But for the fans to get to see the level of talent that's coming here this weekend, I mean, don't come to see me get my butt kicked. Well, come to see me get my butt kicked.
I don't know. Some might like to see that, Brian.
You might want to see me get my butt kicked, but or come to support me. But more importantly, I promise you that unlike watching it on TV, it's nonstop action. Once the bell rings, from the start of the night to the end, you're going to see world-class talent deliver like nothing you've ever seen before if you've never been to a show.
Fantastic. Well, Brian, I'm in your corner, and I know you got lots of other people in your corner as well. And I wish you all a safe match, and I hope you come out of it smiling, because Lord knows you've put the time in.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it.
All right, Brian, thanks so much for joining me, and all the best on Sunday.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right, our friend Brian White, not just a city county councillor, he is a wrestling man, and he's taken it on the challenge once again. Wow, interesting lumberjack match, and a bit of a career in there for Brian White in wrestling, and we'll see where that takes him. But you can go down and see it this Sunday. I'm going to say it. Sunday at the River City Vineyard. Bell rings at 7:30. Go online to TicketZone.com to get your tickets for that. And as I mentioned earlier, we certainly wish our friend Brian White all the best. All right. Well, we were talking about sports earlier, and one of them we mentioned was soccer, and it's actually football, right? The debate between soccer. My friend Stephen Healy from the United Kingdom was happy to hear that I was having someone from the Sarnia Football Club on the show today, and he's here in the lobby. We'll bring him on right now. And here is Paul Burke from the Sarnia Football Club. Paul, thanks for coming in early.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. Well, there's something amazing that we want to share with the crowd first, but first let's just talk about the Sarnia Football Club, and you're the head coach for this. And this club just got established back in 2012, I think it was, right?
Yeah, it's actually been around a lot longer than that in different variations of it. Where it started was the Blue Water Soccer Club, and then we had the Sarnia Boys Soccer Club. So we had two soccer clubs. Finally, the adults in the room decided, it doesn't work very well with two. So we got together, created a whole new club, a new name, Sarnia Football Club. So that was in 2012. So this is just a continuation of the heritage of those two clubs. Yeah.
And it's really, really grown rapidly, would you say?
We've been actually very surprised by the success we've had. When we first joined them, we were about 800 participants on it. Now we're probably 1,200. We have men's recreational soccer, we have women's recreational soccer, men's competitive soccer, women's competitive soccer, and everything below that.
Wow. And this is obviously coming from support of the community and the sports community as well, but I'm guessing a lot of sponsorship support and a lot of volunteers, like a lot of people working together and collaborating to
Well,
make.
we have on our competitive side, we have the two main sponsors, the Carpenters Union and Sarnia Cabinet, basically sponsor our entire competitive program. And then obviously all through our house league, the local communities, they sponsor a team or a division. You couldn't do it without the sponsorship from the community. The price would just get prohibitive for the players.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the money thing just for a second. What does it take to make this thing work?
A lot of money, a lot of effort. Just like any sport, you have fixed costs because you have field rentals, you have to pay for officials, to pay for uniforms, same as all other sports. Yeah. But at the end of the day, soccer still comes out to, or football still comes out to, probably the cheapest by far of any of the major sports.
Right. Well, I don't know if you heard me talking earlier about Empower Play Inc. that is trying to release some of those financial barriers. Would you agree that there is some financial barriers sometimes to some young folks, parents, to getting involved in sports?
In our house league, we provide help just as a club, and then there's jumpstart programs, there's things like that. But where you really start to run into the financial barriers as the player gets higher and higher up the food chain. Not even within our club, even going beyond our club, you start to get into a pay for play mode. And it costs, like the Ontario Player Development League is probably about $3,500 to play in it. So that's a lot of investment for a parent to make to play a sport, basically. Some of us have a real passion for it, but at the end of the day, it's still a sport for a young player.
Yeah. Let's go way back now. I don't say way back, sorry, but you've been doing this for a while. How did you first become involved in all of this?
I started playing basically the year I moved here from Scotland. So I was 5, started playing at 5, went all the way through. Near the end of my playing career, my oldest kid was 6. We're living in Corunna. Just like every other parent at that point, I need a coach. Well, guess what? You're it. And it just kept going and going and going. I'm thinking, well, if I'm going to do it, I better get a little better than the players. And you just take a course here, a course there. And pretty soon you're in Florida for 2 weeks and you're doing this for 3 weeks and get all these little pretty degrees on the wall and people think you know what you're doing.
Well, you've obviously convinced somebody because you recently won, and I hope I say this right, the Ontario Soccer Meritorious Award.
I'm not sure that should have been me that won it. It probably should have been my wife that won that one for putting up with me. But yeah, it just goes to show you can fool some of the people all the time.
Well, you said that before, and she mentioned this, but so there's a team effort going on there. She's obviously got to support you in all this.
She's put up with a lot over the years to make any of this happen. Yeah.
What would you say is, we win awards. That's always a flattering thing, right? And you're being quiet about it, I know, but what would you say it was for you out of all these years? What's the biggest takeaway, and what is the real reward for you in all of this?
Actually, the biggest reward for me is working with young players, 7-year-old, 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, and watching them over a summer just blossom in their love for the game. It's not even the talent or they got better. It's just watching that 5-year-old just at the end of the soccer season going to his mom, oh, I want to do this again. To me, that's what I measure as a coach. That's how I measure success, is that young player goes, oh, I want to come back again. That's success. Winning and losing is great. And, we all do that at different levels, but that young player wanting to keep playing the game. That's how this club measures success.
Yeah. And you must really, over the years, have established some wonderful relationships and see them grow up and grow into young adults. And do they come back to you and remind you of what they're doing in their life?
Yeah, and that's kind of cool, right? And it's I used to coach high school wrestling too, so you really see it in that sport too. And somebody will come up to you and go, oh, do you remember me? And, oh, yeah. And sometimes you're like, I haven't got a clue. But they're going, oh, I remember this. I remember this happened, and you did this for me. And sometimes it's a little thing that I might not even remember. But that's, as coaches or as teachers, we have to be very careful because we have that huge impact on these young players' lives. And obviously they get to 17, 18, you start to become more of a role model. So we need to carry ourselves a certain way and, act a certain way. But it's like you say, it's cool when they come back and go, oh, I remember 10 years ago we did this, and I want to thank you for that. It's like, yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Well, it's the key word in there is impact, like you mentioned, right? And they can carry those things with them for the rest of their lives. And good for you to be able to have that effect. And what about the parents in all of this? They must really see. You talk about the kids and you see growth in them. Do you sometimes, the parents on the sidelines, like, a start of a season to an end of a season, you probably see growth in a young person. What about the parents? You see growth happening there as well?
So what you traditionally see at a young soccer game or a soccer game with young players is all the parents line up their chairs. Player gets the ball and all you'll hear is hoof it, kick it, all right, type thing. And I cringe. Right, because we want no. There's all the technical possession stuff like that.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, when you don't hear from the parents, and they're recognizing all the little things the players are, that's another measure of success, right? It's watching that parent's education. I remember I had a new parent last year, and had actually said that halfway through the season, and one mother leans over and goes, "We don't say that here." I was laughing to myself, and I'm going, "Well, there you go. Parents' education is actually starting to work." Right, because the parents might not really understand what they're doing, but they see their son or their daughter having fun, getting better at the game, and all the little technical, tactical things we do. It's like, wow, my kid can do that. You'd be surprised what your player, your son or your daughter can do.
I remember my boy playing when he was younger, and he was sort of a sports guy, right? But when he would kick the ball, when it finally came to him, he would stop and so, did you see that, Dad? Like, yeah, but keep going. And so I mean, you can see the excitement in there and the fun that they are having, and I guess every kick and pass is another success story.
That's the whole way on Canada Soccer, then Ontario Soccer, then obviously Sarnia FC and all the other major clubs. We've totally redone the way we do things, where everything we do now is about player success. It's designed to play the player in a position where they succeed. And if that is the simplest thing is making a successful pass, great. That's what it is, right? We start to put way too much pressure on them way too young to win the game. Well, define winning the game to a 7-year-old. I scored 3 goals. The other team scored 8. Doesn't matter. He scored 3 or she scored 3. So so we really push that with the parents too, is right. Okay, this is the definition of success. Your son, your daughter had fun, they were successful, that's what it's all about.
Where do these philosophies come from? Is this from Ontario Soccer, that's what they instill as well, or is this your
a bit of both? So Canada Soccer has got their methodology. Obviously Ontario Soccer has developed the same methodology. We as a club, we as Sarnia FC have really bought into long-term player development or long-term athletic development in the non-soccer world, and then all that entails. Our club is not designed to produce winning teams. It's designed to produce soccer players. So that mentality, some people go, well, what's the difference? If we produce good players, they'll win. But the idea is at 13, there is the Ontario Player Development League starts. That's the provincial league. That's the high-end, high-performance league. We don't have one in Sarnia. There's 2 in London. We're actually affiliated with one of the London clubs. Last year, we put 6 players from our U12 girls team on the U13 OPDL team. That's successful. That's what this club is designed to do. I mean, it's not designed to win every game, right? Because you're not going to win any game. It's designed to produce those players. Off that same group, there was a U14 or U13 player who made the U14 provincial team from Sarnia FC, right? I mean, she made it as an underager, which is very rare. But that philosophy that we're working on the player development, there you see it manifesting it there. Like there's 7 players that are no longer playing for Sarnia FC, but we're really happy about that. Why? Because they're on the high performance stream, and they're on the next rung towards making the national team.
Wow. And this going back to parents and everybody else involved in this, you need coaches and that sort of thing. Can anybody be a coach, or what do you got to? How do you?
So in our what we do with our development league, right? We don't call it a house league. We call it a development league. And again, it's just to go with the philosophy, right? It's like we're not just babysitting. You're trying to develop a young player. It's all parent coaches, same as everybody else, other club does. Now we provide them some training, some manuals. I mean, I wrote a training manual just to try and make things easier. I'm at the pitch most nights, so there's trying to give them the resources. And the ideal is when they do their practice part, they don't have to go on the internet and find things. Because what happens there, they go find something that the Barcelona men's team does and try to do it with U5s. Well, that can't work. So we try to make it as easy as possible for a volunteer coach. And I'll just pick this exercise, that exercise, boom, you're done, play your game. Our competitive coaches, obviously, they're a different model. They're trained to an entirely different level, but they're also held to a different standard too, right? I mean, as the club head coach, that I'm a bit of a bully with that, because this club philosophy that we were just talking about, I mean, that's non-negotiable, right? So you see that all the way through our club, but yet it doesn't run without volunteers.
Yeah, well, and I think you have to. I think sometimes because volunteers are involved in clubs, people tend to go, "Well, I can't really tell them what to do. We're not." Yes, you can. You have to have a structure and a foundation, and the philosophies are a big part of it all, right? So it's great that you hold those close and dear, which is obviously a big part of the success of the club.
It's what our entire club's based on. If you're not doing something like that, you end up with 22 competitive teams that just happen to wear the same color shirt, and that's not a club. What we look at is if you took the strip off a Sarnia FC team and put a different color on them, we want you to be able to recognize that team regardless of the shirt. They play a certain way. That's the way everybody in our club is designed to play a certain way. And what we work on at U13 is designed to make them better at 14, then designed to make them better at 15 and 16. So there's a curriculum in place, for the competitive side. And the idea is each year we just add another layer to it, and at 18, theoretically, they're complete soccer players.
Yeah, and not just soccer players. This is growth as a person too. I mean, I see all of this. These are life skills that they can take with them forever if they choose to do that, right?
That's a huge part of that. I'm doing a Canadian soccer child license, and one of the things we had to do at that level was think about the coach that had the biggest impact in your life, and then write down on a little sticky note what it was. 30 people in it, high performance coaches. 3 people had X's and O's. Everybody else had those interpersonal skills that you were talking about earlier. So the impact that my coach way back when had wasn't what he taught me. It was how he treated me or how he empowered me and that type of thing. So that's, like you say, with these young players, that's probably more important than teaching them the technical side of the game, is helping them develop as young people into adults.
Well, we all remember how somebody made us feel, right?
Yes.
That's the big part of it. Well, congratulations to you on your award from Ontario Soccer.
Thank you.
And to your wife. We'll give her some credit in there too. And I think the Sarnia Football Club is very fortunate to have you as their head coach, and looking forward to hearing more about it. Is there anything you want to follow up with before I let you go back to life?
Actually, real quick. So we had a tournament this past weekend. So had about 65, 70 teams in town. So again, good for our economy. So that was only 13 and up. So this Saturday, we're having the 9 to 12 division. They do it a little different. We do it at a festival. So at Germain Park all day, if somebody wants to come see the younger players, the best young players in Sarnia, the best young players in this part of the province, it'll be going on all day Saturday at Germain.
At where, sorry?
Germain Park.
At Germain Park. Okay,
yeah.
Fantastic. And it'll be, you say some of the best are going to be down there for that age group as well. So, Paul, thank you so much. Congratulations again. And I'll be in touch with you. We'll talk about some more things about the Sarnia Football Club.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Anytime. Well, there you go. Head coach of the Sarnia Football Club, doing some great things. And I love the philosophies. I have to say, I'm someone who believes in good, positive stuff and philosophies, and that's happening there. Maybe you're thinking about being a part of soccer or getting involved in sports, or maybe you've got some young ones that are trying to figure it out. Sounds to me like this might be a good opportunity for you to just go and see what's happening down there, as Paul mentioned, down at Germain Park this Saturday. You can go onto their website, sarniafc.ca. I think I got it here. We'll put it up on the screen again, or go to their Facebook page as well. they're everywhere. Sarnia Football Club. Wow. Well, that time passed by. I want to say thank you to my guests. I do apologize. One of my other guests was unable to make it here today, Jessica from the Spirit Academy, but we'll do a follow-up with that. And let's see what else I've got to share with you here before we go. I do have to say a couple of thank yous. I want to say thank you to our friends at AG Event Graphics, Guy and Kevin and the team down there. You visit them online at askguy.ca. And we also want to say thank you to one of our new sponsors who've come on board, Joe's Discount Tire, just at the end of Indian Road, right at the overpass here in Sarnia, also coming on to give us support as well. And a shout out to our friends at the United Way. Dave Brown, the executive director from the United Way, Sarnia Lambton, will be here next week with his monthly update and what's happening with United Way. And if you can't watch me or you just don't like looking at me, you want to just listen to me, you can take me on a jog or a run or listen to me on your way to work in the car. All the different podcasts available on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're now on Spotify. If you can't find me on a podcast, then it's not worth listening to. Thank you all again. I really do appreciate all of you for stopping by here on a Monday, and thank you to all of my guests. That's all the time I got for you this week, everybody. Have a great week and an even better weekend. I will see you next time right here on the show live. Bye for now.